Hi everyone, this is a step-by-step guide to make a mask at home. This is perfect for anyone that doesn't have a sewing machine as it's all done by hand sewing, and we've used a old bed sheet, so you can use any fabric or any old clothing that you've got in the house to recycle, something that's cotton, breathable base or jersey. So this is the mask that we're going to show you how to create. It's very simple, it's great for all abilities, all ages, and we can show you a really simple step-by-step guide. The first thing we want to do is to draw a template or a pattern that we're going to place onto the fabric. For the adult size, we're going to draw a 20cm square. I've used some old wallpaper. You could use printer paper, tissue paper, tracing paper, anything that you have. But we're just going to draw a square, 20cm square for the adult mask. And we're going to add this sign along here, which is to allow us to place it onto the edge of the fabric on the fold. This is going to then double the width, so the finished size is going to be 40cm by 20cm. And for the mask for 4 to 12-year-olds, we're going to draw a rectangle that's 18cm by 12.5cm. And again, on this edge here, we've got our place on the fold sign. So this is going to mean that the actual finished size is going to be 25cm by 18. So just a closer look. This is the sign that we're going to place on the long edge of the smaller pattern, and then the adult one along one of the edges. And this is going to make sure that a reminder that we're going to place it onto the fold of our fabric to have it double the width. And then the finished sizes, the 4 to 12-year-olds is 25cm by 15, and the adult is 40cm by 20cm. Once you have a pattern cut out, we're then going to pin it onto your fabric, or you can chalk round it however you normally work. If you've not done anything cutting out fabric before, if you pin it in place, it holds it really nice and secure. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut around the edges to cut out our mask. You can then remove your pattern, take all the pins off. And one thing to note is that I placed this on the fold of the fabric. So I'd folded my fabric over first. You can see just from here, this is on the fold. And then when I place my pattern on, it means that now it's actually double the length. We want to have a much wider piece of fabric. So now that we have our piece of fabric cut out, we're going to come over to the iron. We're then going to fold your piece of fabric in half again. Give it a press. And then we want to iron 1 centimetre along the edge that is not folded. So we're just going to turn this 1 centimetre and press that along, and just be careful with your fingers. And then we're going to repeat the same on the other side. Once we have that in place, we're going to create some folds that's going to create the mask shape. So you want to fold your fabric like this and pin it in place. And then we're going to repeat this with another 2 folds. So you want to try and get them roughly the same. So if you feel that one of them's slightly bigger, you can just take that pin out and revisit. And just make the folds slightly smaller before doing your final one. I'm then going to repeat the exact same on the other side. And what to do is pull this out so that you can try and get the same line and width as your other one. Now we want to press the whole mask and get those pleats held in place with the iron. If you do go over your pins, just be careful because they'll become really warm with the iron, so you want to just make sure that we don't touch those. We're now going to pin in the elastic to where we want it to go. So at the very top where you've got that folded edge, we want to just place it in the inside there, and you want it to be coming in towards the mask and pin that in place. And then the bottom, we want to bring it right through the mask. So just open up those tucks. You can take the pins out the side and repin it. I find it slightly easier to just keep my pins in place and feel through the fabric until I reach the bottom, and then pin that in place as well. So I've got my elastic here and here and my tucks in the middle. I'm going to do the exact same on the other side. So I've got my elastic here. And then through all the layers. And then pin that in place as well. So we're now ready to start hand sewing the mask to keep it all in place. We're now going to hand sew down the sides of the mask. So I've got my hand sewn needle here, hard to see, and then I've got some cotton thread. You can use either a matching colour, or it really doesn't matter because it's going to be on the inside, so any thread that you have in the house. I'm using a dark colour just now so it's a wee bit clearer in the video for you. And then we're going to thread the eye, which is at the very, very top of your needle. You're just going to place your thread through the eye. And then I'm going to use double thread just to give this a wee bit more strength. And then we want to tie a knot at the end of our thread. And then we're just going to start stitching down the sides. So the very first part at the top, we want to reinforce and make sure that that elastic stays in place. So we're going to go over this section quite a few times, and we're going to bring it out to the side and the top of the fabric. And you want to go over that quite a few times just to make sure that that elastic's really secured in place. So now you've started a good amount of stitching. You can take that pin out, sometimes it gets in the way. Do one more, and then I'm going to start travelling down and stitching along here. You could do a running stitch, you could do a back stitch, any sort of stitch that you feel confident, comfortable with. A very basic one is just in a running stitch. We're just going to come up, and then we're going to start working our way down. So the good thing is we're going to turn this inside out, so all this stitching is going to be in the inside of the mask. So you want to try and make sure that it's really nice and secure, but don't worry too much if you're still learning how to do hand embroidery, or if it's your first time sewing. It's going to be in the inside. We just want to make sure that this is all held together nice and secure. And then I'm down at the bottom again where I've got my elastic. That wee one just got caught on the pin there. I'll just take that out. And then I'm just going to go reinforce where my elastic is, the same as I did as we started. So I want my thread to travel out to the side. I'm going to do that once more. And then now we just want to finish off by tying a knot to make sure that's really nice and secure. So the easiest way I find to do that is to just catch a small piece of your fabric. And then I've created this wee loop here, and what I want to do is put my thread through the first loop, which creates a second loop here, which I pop my needle through there, and then when I pull that down, I get a really nice secure knot in there. Trim my thread, and I can now take my pins out, and that's one side done. I'm just going to do the exact same on the other side by stitching along here and reinforcing those ends. Final thing now, I've got both sides stitched in place, all my pins are taken out. You've got this edge at the bottom here. We're just going to turn this inside out, and then you now have a mask that is ready to go. So this is the mask on. Really simple, really effective.